goes, is it for sale? I said, no, I just
Call
bought
a meeting to order at 6. Motion to adopt the agenda presented.
Make
Council
that
Warwick,
motion.
all in favor? Carried. Delegations, I see we have a couple tonight. No Kyle tonight, we have ducks and hens both.
I know.
Yeah, Kyle's not here. Your chances have decreased slightly. Long-term care duck project proposal. Go ahead.
That's me?
That's you.
Okay, so what you,
Just come on up
like
to the,
stand up?
yeah,
Okay.
come on,
Hi.
just go through what you want to do, why you want to do it, how you're gonna
I
do
thought you had
it.
a duck in the bag. I was so
No, anyway, so I'm Lisa Karp. I am the recreation therapist in long-term care, and we recently decided that we should have ducks in long-term care. So they're actually Indian runner ducks. They don't fly. And we have inside long-term care, one door that goes straight out to our courtyard, which is kind of just a triangle shape. So it's actually no access to outside. It's just strictly accessed for us from inside the facility out there. And so plan is 6 or maybe less ducks. We just want to have over the summer. And then once the fall hits, we're going to just rehome them. So a lot of our residents actually grew up on farms, had ducks and chickens. And I mean, we obviously can't have cows or goats, but this is kind of the next best thing. So yeah, we just thought it would be a really nice thing that we could have for them over the summer. Sort of like a pet therapy sort of thing, increase socialization. Lots of them can hold them, and yeah, we just plan on having lots of activities. I think that, yeah, they're quite little. It actually, I had said that they don't actually fly or waddle. Its legs position allows it to actually run only, so they don't fly. So, yeah.
Yeah, they're both sides of the mallard.
Yeah. And I don't think they're very noisy either. So, and talk to maintenance. So I think, yeah, the maintenance guys are happy because I don't think they'll have to cut the grass. The ducks will probably just end up eating all of it. So, yeah, so we would like to have at
And
least
Lisa,
6.
prior to this, you have had like little chicks and stuff
We
in there
did,
that have
and
been well received, right?
Oh,
From what I
absolutely.
understand.
Yeah. So the last 2 years, we've actually, last year we did chickens, and then this year we did quails. And we would just hatch them and have them for a couple days, and the residents loved them. And then they would just go back to their original home, and yeah, they talked about it for days, and we had so many residents that would come in and see them. And it's so nice just to have something living.
And something to look forward to.
Absolutely,
right? To
yeah.
Get up and see their
Yeah.
ducks. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm hoping I kind of have a couple residents in mind that I'm hoping are gonna be not solely responsible for the ducks, but they're kind of gonna be the caretakers. Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So are you gonna put a pond? Do they swim?
Yes, so
So you have a
apparently
little
there's
pond
all
or
these things I
something?
have to get prepared. So they almost do kind of like a dog house, a little shelter. And then a swimming pool with some sort of plank or something so that they can kind of come in and out. So
Mhm.
yeah, we have all sorts of things that we just need to get organized, but yeah,
Or done?
yeah. Is that it?
That's it,
That's
unless council has any further
Any other
questions. This is your time.
Duck food.
I know, and so we're hoping,
I'm sorry.
it's not very big, and so the plan is, not the plan, but I think the hope is that it's just going to basically fertilize the soil that's out in our courtyard. I think we do have a bit of a sidewalk area that's probably gonna have to be hosed off on a regular basis, so I have one resident that will be
Poser.
he'll be the hoser, yes, yes. Yeah,
Talk to community gardens about at the end, take the. You take the,
The manure.
It actually has to be, it has to be aged further away
Yeah.
because it's so high now.
Okay,
Yeah.
say it.
oh.
We have an expert in poo.
yes,
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, and the area is isolated too, between the
Yes.
building.
Yes.
There's kind of a U shape that you
Yeah.
probably, unless you go up close, you wouldn't even know or recognize that you even have them there.
Yeah,
right?
exactly, that's what.
yeah, you gotta
it
drive
is.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no access
There is no
whatsoever from outside, it's
Outside,
just
only
our
on the
little
inside,
courtyard. and-
Yes.
Yeah, so hopefully there's not issues with the residents and the duck. If there is, then I mean, we'll have to obviously do something, but shouldn't really bother any of the neighboring houses.
So are there windows that open onto that?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
yeah, so it's actually, it would be wing 300 and 400 are the ones that surround the courtyard, as well as the dining room.
Yeah, well, lucky them, they get to watch
Right?
them longer than.
And so I think some will, be very receptive to it and enjoy watching them, and others maybe not so much, but
Yeah,
figure that out.
It makes a few happy.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For any costs associated, what are
We
your
will
plans?
cover the cost of that.
Okay.
We actually have a lady that she works in long-term care with us, and so she's actually kind of brought us all of the things that we need. Talked about possibly maybe going to UFA to see if they would be willing to supplement
Donations.
and maybe, give a donation for the food. But other than that, they can actually eat scraps, I think, from the kitchen. So the kitchen can kind of just keep some of the things, and then they eat grass as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right on.
Okay.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good.
Thank
Any other
Thank
questions?
you.
No?
No.
Okay, thank
Good
you.
off you. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
Get a motion to, thank Lisa for her presentation on long-term care on the duck project proposal. Councilor Bowden. All in favor? Carried.
Thank you.
That was famous, eh?
Yeah.
Now everybody knows what to expect.
Yeah, right?
Urban Heads, Hanna Lodge.
You're up, ladies.
The Hanna,
no,
the
the
Hanna expert.
Jelly.
Yep.
I'm
I'm a cow expert.
I know nothing about cows, just they smell better sometimes. I'm Shelley, I'm the administration at the Hanna Lodge, and we're actually going along the same lines as Lisa at long-term care, only with chickens. It's all the same purposes, no more than 6 hens, no roosters because obviously they're noisy, and I know that roosters will crow at 3 o'clock in the morning and nobody wants them. We plan on having a little 6 hen house and a run with the covered run for them kind of in the back part of where the lodge is. So it's really, we have open field there, and there is actually our next neighbor would be a farmer and he has cows. So I'm pretty sure he won't have a whole bunch of issues. We actually, again, the same thing as Lisa, we'll keep them through the summer and maybe partway through the fall and watch them grow. And then myself or Dina will bring them home to our farms.
Okay, you're not gonna have them for dinner, Wendy?
No. Sorry. They'll all be named. It's actually, we actually started because I had an idea. I've got 3 incubators at home,
Okay.
and we've hatched out all of our own birds before here a few years ago when the pandemic first came out. That was our science project with the kids because the kids were at home. So I actually come to Dina and I said, we should hatch eggs, just off the cuff. And a few days later, she said, yeah, we should get her done. So we now have an incubator at my desk with 36 eggs, and we will be hatching on the 25th. So hopefully, we've actually involved a few of our residents, and they're extremely excited. If you ever come into the lodge, you'll see my desk area is covered in chicken facts, and they're just, it is. Yeah, and I've had, oh, do we have birds yet? Do we have birds? Not for 19 days or so. So it's the excitement that has just drawn up. I was actually kind of talking today with a couple of the residents. They're like, can we just have birds? I don't know. I'll let you know. I hope so. So it's just kind of the excitement there that these guys are involved in. Sometimes some of these guys don't spend a lot of time downstairs. Right. So they're coming and asking questions, and they're reading all these facts, and it's actually quite nice to see that these guys are involved in something that they miss or haven't had the opportunity to have in their home life if they weren't farmers.
We also have no public access. The driveway comes to the end of the lodge, but the back part of the lodge, there's really no public access except for out the courtyard and out the back doors for the residents to just be out there. So,
So is the courtyard isolated then?
no. No, it's, so our lodge is like a U
Yeah.
shaped, and this is our courtyard here,
Okay.
but it's fenced in all the way around. And Mills Farm is on this side, and then the Echo part is that side. So really there's predators maybe,
That's
but
right.
we're going to,
Well,
we're gonna fence it in
yeah.
and.
It'll be enclosed, yeah. So if there is a problem, like let's say a fox, 'cause I know there is a den down there.
Yeah.
It's a matter of live trap from wherever we can find a live trap and then rehoming if we need to. I honestly, we're gonna have a run, so I don't know that that's gonna be a huge thing.
That would have been my biggest
Yeah, that's all.
concern was predators, whether it's coyotes, foxes.
Yeah, so no, we'll have like off the coop, we're gonna have the chicken wire run and the top will be covered, so any kind of predator, it'll be stable enough for us to be able to not have that happen, hopefully.
I think we'll have enough residents out there too, checking that nobody's gonna come.
Right, and really, right, at this point in time, we're just waiting for our chicks to hatch and they won't be outside quite yet, until we're ready, so.
Judy's at that window upstairs
Mhm.
looking.
And
out
yes,
the window.
she absolutely, we have residents that are better than the FBI and
Yep.
will sit and
No one
stalk
touched
everything,
the
so it's good, yeah.
Okay, no, that sounds good.
Any other questions?
It's nice to see the excitement and to get the socializing again.
Yeah,
Because I think people have isolated themselves with COVID and all that business.
it's been such a hard time with having to be away from everybody and
Yeah.
loved ones and maybe not like friends even, like for
Mhm.
those who don't have loved ones, they kind of have hunkered down in their rooms or wherever they're staying and they
Yeah.
don't. It's been a hard couple of years.
Yeah.
Well, and we all know seniors like to look after people,
Mhm.
right? Like they want to be needed and wanted,
Yep.
and the baby chicks are just going to give them that, like,
Mhm.
an animal of any sort is just something that they know that they're needed, right? And so it gives them purpose to
Yeah.
keep going, right? And to get up the next day and to come down too, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm just curious, do you have a cat on the premises or dog? Have you ever
No.
had any cats or
No.
dogs on the premises at all?
No.
No, there's never been a.
I think, yeah, unless, we do have, I think the school brings in a dog once every couple months, but I think that's actually, we only have that coming one more time, actually, before the school year is done.
And we don't do it in that,
Uh,
it's just in the front.
oh, yeah, I guess it just kind of bring it in and
'Cause I
like, just
know-
kind of holds the dog.
Sorry, in some facilities, they've had, an on-site pet, like a
Yeah.
cat over the years. I'm just curious. I didn't know. if you-
I think that is something that we are maybe possibly looking at with having to go through other steps first, with public health, sorry.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
the Acadia Foundation, I brought it up 3 months ago because there's a direct correlation between longevity and having pets,
Mhm,
as well as the stress level going down.
yeah,
Did not get good reception from some members of the board, but others, so if they didn't like cats, no cats.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you like cats. What
Yeah.
matters is if the residents and allowing the facility to allow the residents to have a pet.
Yeah.
Certain restrictions, and it was supposed to have gone through
It
and
did.
then,
Sandy has approved me to get a cat. Public health was there a couple weeks ago, and
Okay.
they said that as long as we came up with a plan of it being up on the second floor and not going outside and stuff, they will approve it, but we haven't gone that far. We're talking with the residents and staff, because if anybody has allergies.
Yeah.
And if any of the residents, if we have more residents that say no, then yes, then we won't get a cat.
and that's gonna be a resident cat as opposed to each individual tenant having a
Exactly,
cat.
yeah, it'll be a resident floor to cat nowhere near our kitchen and stuff like that. So-
Absolutely.
well, I mean, it's like with these kind of animals where they're therapy
Support
animals,
animals,
where-
yeah.
support animals or whatever. I've seen it with horses too. Like I've worked in positions, I've got 5 horses at home.
Yeah.
And I've used one for a young man who had some severe mental health issues. And he went from having huge issues to jumping on an unbroke horse
Oh, it's
and helping me
beautiful.
train that thing. And it was just phenomenal. And he had no patience for anything and same thing with chickens. I've seen the same thing too, or ducks or anything else. I think it's a really kind of a neat thing, even if somebody's a little, oh, I don't want chickens, or I don't want this, or I don't want that. They look at them, they're like, something changes in their behaviors.
That's true.
Because it's, and it helps them. And it's usually a positive.
Well, that Igala, equine program in schools has been highly successful.
Yeah,
And we live in rural Alberta, to not allow animals when we're surrounded by them.
Yeah.
I always found that a little funny.
Sandra, we're not having horses at the launch. I can tell you any
I was trying, Dina, I was trying. Good call.
I can bring them in.
Don't give up, Shelley.
I'm not gonna. So is that it?
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
No.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Motion to thank the lodge for the presentation on urban head proposal. Counselor Kroll. All in favor? Carried.
So ladies who just presented from both parties, so later on in the agenda, we do have a request for decision on that, so you're certainly welcome to stay through the entire meeting, but if you did want to go, certainly I'll let you know the results one way or the other. I think from the conversation, you're probably going to be successful, so
Thank you.
but it's up to you. If you want to stay, you're welcome to stay. If you have other plans, feel free to go.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
You're not gonna stay and watch her council?
No.
This is just where it gets good. Everyone's had a chance to look at the council meeting from the 11th. and-
Mr.
Public
Mayor, just maybe
presentation.
ask if there's
Oh,
anybody here.
sorry, anybody else?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Susan
Would you be
Patterson.
more comfortable if you sat down?
No, I'm good.
You're good? Okay.
My name is Susan Patterson. I moved here 3 years ago when I bought a home. I just wanted to speak on a couple of issues of the loves today, the land use bylaws, and it's under 2 minutes. Okay, is that all right? I'd like council to seriously consider prohibiting the can canisters and shipping containers to be used as any kind of living space or school. And you also have a mention in the loves, specifically calling them accessory dwelling units. There's quite a few issues. These are a new item in Canada. And I have an article here that's less than 3 months old from the United States saying why they're banning them. And the primary concern for me is wild changes in temperature fluctuate can cause condensation issues, which would be a health hazard long term. So I brought this article for you. I only brought 6 copies, I'm sorry. And that's all I really have to say about it. The other thing I just wanted to say is put my 2 cents in for the 5G towers, that if they are approved for Hanna, we keep them on the outskirts of town. These are microwave communications, not radio signals. And my concern is that they'd be too close to residences. And that's my 2 minutes.
So Susan, just for clarification, you're saying that the CCANs that you want prohibited are ones that provide a living accommodation or schooling or that kind of housing, not ones for storage.
Right,
Right,
just
okay.
something for living space. It shouldn't be allowed for living space. It's for
Okay.
schools.
Okay. Thank you.
Would you be interested in the copies I made?
Sure. Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay,
That's the one you sent me, isn't it, Susan?
sorry,
You sent me that one already. Did you get an email?
I haven't got it clean.
I think so.
Yeah, we only have 6 counselors here this evening, so that's,
Perfect.
that'll work and
We
we can
can
make a
share
copy
too.
for Kyle as well.
We can
I'm a
share.
little rough on my printing skills, but each fold is a complete article. Some is on 4 pages, some's on 2 back and front.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your time.
What's up? Yep.
You know, there.
You're leaving us, Susan?
Yes, I'll watch the rest on the internet.
Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You need a motion to accept that for review?
No.
Minutes of the last meetings, on April 11th and April 26th. Any errors, omissions, questions, concerns? We get a motion to accept the regular meetings of council, April 11th, 2023 to be adopted as presented. Councilor Thorold. All in favor? Carried. You get a motion to accept the minutes of the April 26th information session for information presented. Councilor Murphy, All in favor? Carried. Accounts payables. Questions or concerns? Alfred Bowden.
I just had a question regarding, dog bags. And I'm just wondering, is that in here it indicates 503.29, and that includes freight and all. Is that enough to last a year, or how often do bags have to be ordered?
Good question. I think a minimum of a year.
Minimum of a year? Okay.
I can't remember. That's 5,000 bags.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Let's see, I think that's the first invoice I've ever signed for dog bags, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think I've seen anything.
So I'm guessing that's
Before either.
probably a year and a half. At
Yeah.
least.
I have a question then in regards to that as well. So where are those being ordered from?
they're being ordered from, I guess, where Practical Limited.
And
Fits inside the dispensers, right?
Yeah,
so there is no local business that can stock the dog bags for us, that can provide
I
those.
don't know. These ones come and they fit inside and they hang up on the inside of the containers that we have around town. So I don't know if anybody's checked. As I said, we buy them maybe once every couple, 2-3 years. I don't know. To be honest, Council Work, if anybody has checked, I know that my gut tells me however long they've been up in our community, we've been buying them from this supplier.
Okay, well, I might make a suggestion that we check locally and see if we can outsource those locally,
Sure.
if we can.
I also had another question.
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Triple rentals for the Canada Day Bounce House, is that the deposit or is that the full amount? 14,700. For the
That
rental,
I'm not sure.
okay, it's just that it is, given that it's paid in April and July 1st is a waste.
Yeah, I believe it's the deposit.
Okay, and that grant is to go towards stuff like this then?
Well, the money we get from the federal
Yeah.
government for Canada Day can go towards whatever. We certainly spend a significant amount more than what
I
we
think,
get,
I think it
so.
was only 3,000 and some.
Yeah, and we spend probably, when we include fireworks, we probably
Yeah.
spend 12,000 to 15,000 on Canada Day, so.
Okay, that's all I had, just out of curiosity, thank you.
Anything else for anybody?
In my next session about the dog control or contracted services, but no. That's under the next,
Statement of revenues. So,
yeah, revenue expenses.
Okay, motion to accept the account payable listings, general account 42591242625 and direct deposits from 001976 to 002046 for information. Dr. Bowden, all in favor? Carried. Statement of revenue.
Yeah, just wondering, is the dog control stuff, under the contracted stuff, is that, our bylaw officer, or is this a whole different?
Yeah.
division?
That's and you'll see when we, this is the confusing meaning. This is based on our original budget in December. We made some
Oh.
changes, but yeah, so
Yeah.
we had some money set aside here, but we're gonna pull it out and lump it in all with bylaw enforcement. So
Oh,
it's all
okay.
part of one
Yeah.
area.
Other questions?
That was the 3,900 question. So a portion of that though, portion of it won't be the whole thing on 30 of the 3,900. There's a portion that we allocate to dog control that comes, it's basically part of our financial software packages. So the licensing and all the information on all the dogs. So there's a module that will be a part of that 3,900. So.
Mr. Mayor, I may have missed what I was going to address here. but you can correct me. I have it under revenue and expenses. I have several numbers that I want to address, 042616, 042618.
Those are all accounts payable, I
I
believe.
Is that all under accounts payable?
Well, those numbers would be under accounts payable, not under our.
Okay, I apologize then. Can I have concession to just address the whole thing, or I'll bring it back at the next meeting? I'm sorry. I just went through this whole, I don't know why I wrote revenue and expenses on here, my mistake, and I apologize for that, but I noticed on here, there's a lot of Loomis Purelator, Amazon Purelator, Loomis. And I guess I'm just wondering, to me, when I look at this, there's a lot of outside transactions that go on here. And I know there's probably several things if we wanted to go through each one. There's one here, 042625, Work Canada Limited. Like, I'm not sure what that is. I Googled it. It's obviously an online where you purchase stuff online, of purchasing.
I don't know if Brent will know off the top of his head, but Worth is I think was oil.
Yeah, it's hydraulic oil and grease and
Okay.
specialties.
And then I'm just maybe assuming that the Brant Tractor Limited is something as well, that,
Brand.
Brent is here in Canada.
okay, that's local, okay. So this Work Canada, like whatever we're buying from there, that has to be outsourced through that avenue.
It's a specializing brake and oiler for our plow truck, like special grease for rust and all that.
Okay, and so there's nobody local that can supply any of that kind of stuff here?
Well, this stuff seems to work the best, and then we got the better deal on it.
Okay, so we got a better deal. That's why we're getting it. We're getting it from out of town because we got a better deal. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, it's stuff that works well.
And I don't think it's stuff that's
It's not-
normally carried by.
It's not normally carried. It would have to be brought in anyway.
It'd be special order.
Okay. Okay, the other one that I noticed on here, the 002026 is coffee break. There was an expense there. I just thought we weren't using this as, it wasn't reaching enough people. So was this just from a previous application, or are we now using?
We've
coffee
always
break?
used the coffee break for our inserts.
She
Okay.
distributes the newsletter that we do.
So we
With her
print them and
coffee
she
break?
puts them in her coffee break
Yeah.
6 times a year.
Okay. So we are using it 6 times a year then?
As a delivery tool, yes. It gets inserted in the coffee break, our newsletter.
Okay, okay. Okay, I just noticed a lot on, just the online purchasing this time, and I just kind of triggered some thought on.
I can
You know,
address the on Amazon one if you're wanting to go there. And I purchased a screening deal, 2 replacement computers for the kiosk computers, which are comparatively $1,200 locally. We buy our office desk computers locally. Before purchasing those, I consulted with the IT department at Special Areas to ask if they thought they were reasonable for this purpose, and agreed with me that it was probably a very good price. I was hoping to get 4, but I could only get 2.
And so Lori, just in confirmation with that then, so did we outsource any of that locally, or was it the price difference that we?
Because of the price and only the price, that is why I went with those ones.
So I guess this is a question this will bring me to then the next question is, so based on supporting local, like we have all these campaign efforts, and I'm sure you've heard this before, about shopping local. We do this local. We want to bring people to come here locally. But when I look at this then, and I hear this, we're constantly buying stuff out of town because we've got it cheaper. But then when we need people in town to support what we have here, pay the taxes and all the rest of it, then we haven't given them the opportunity to
you're not seeing the
provide the
times.
services and the goods.
Yeah, in that particular instance, absolutely 100%. Absolutely. But what you're not seeing is that we are overpaying, and I shouldn't say overpaying. We're paying about $200 to $250 more per workstation that we purchase, even with our municipal discount locally. We could do far better. how much do you want the mill rate to rise? Like, basically, it comes down to budget and what we need to be able to operate.
But to be fair, we are so lucky to have a computer store in Hanna. If it costs more, but we have it here, understand that that business isn't getting a discount Amazon gets because the billionaire's too busy flying his plane to space. But the person in town, he's not buying 10,000 computers a week. He's buying 20 computers a month.
We
So
understand
his-
that.
so his costs are
Councilor Bowman.
different.
I just felt it was a
It's
good
what-
investment
yeah.
for the taxpayers. If you're looking at, like I said, I wanted to get 4 of them, that would have been $1,000 rather than $5,000. Just seemed like a good investment. We're trying to run this program on a shoestring. I'm already on the edge of coming to council and saying, we either need to put more money into it or cancel it. Because it needs to be bigger or go away. And I don't have the time to campaign to make it
And
bigger.
the other thing,
So,
just
That's
to,
just what that
just to
particular.
point out on computers, there's also for computers bought locally that are in here as well. So, I think that, for the most part, we buy, and if you go through here, I would say 85% of the things, 90% of the things we buy are local. There are some things that we don't buy local, whether it was because we got a really good price on it. And or whether it's a specialty thing that we don't know if anybody carries rather than spending a bunch of time going around. Example, the doggy do bags that we buy every 3 years rather than going around trying to track someone who could do that, knowing we're gonna be the only ones in town looking for them. We've chosen to go this route. So the message is to primarily look local and shop local. So
Well, I guess at some point I would want to venture out to see how our citizens feel about this. Because it's something that comes, and I'm not just addressing the computer situation. There's other things that have come to light. And I think time and time again, you know what, it's easy for all of us to go to Amazon and shop for the best deal. But yet we want people to come to town, we want them to set up businesses. And but we're skirting around that it might cost us a little bit extra money to support these local businesses. And I have a problem with that, and I think several others do too.
So we're not talking
And so-
a little bit of dollars in a lot of situations. We're talking double or triple what we can buy it for.
Yeah, and maybe maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but maybe as staff or administration, we need a percentage policy or something from council, because we do as much locally as we can.
And you know what, quite honestly, just to be frank, I don't care. I don't care if it is double. It's not like you're buying a computer every year. It's not like you're buying some of
Buying
this,
4 or
you know.
6 every year, yeah.
So, but in the same regard, it's probably small in, when I look at, some of our fiscal responsibilities and where we spend money. I think we need to spend it local. I think we need to spend that money locally. We need to outsource that and start spending money locally. You know what, there's other areas, where we provide funds for several different entities. At whim, some of them. And you know what, I can probably name, some areas where I feel like, maybe is, maybe a little bit of a luxury to some extent. So I think supporting our local business is something that we really need to work on many levels. That's my personal agree.
But you're acting like we don't, we go to Danny all the time. I go to Danny, we go to Napa, we go, we can't get some of our truck parts, so we have to go to
Brenda, I
Amazon.
understand.
So, no, you're saying that we don't source it out first, we do. The only reason why this worked, guy, is because Logan, the guy goes to Hanna Chrysler, the guy goes to Hanna Motor Products. The guy goes, stops by and says, we have this, it's on sale, it's a really good product, we can give it to you for that. I don't have time to phone Danny and say, can you get this? It's supposed to work really well with the plow trucks, the cities are using it, all these guys, it's right there, the guy's right there. So we buy it.
I never said you weren't outsourcing it. I asked that specifically, and Laura did
Okay.
say that they did.
And
They
I'm
did
telling you, it's
outsource
a-
that,
it's
which
a-
I
the
thank you
difference
for
in the
that.
price.
Yes, and
It
I
was based on
understand
that. And in Kim's defense, I didn't even run that past him. It's in the budget. It's a good price and it's fine.
And honestly, that's an automatic reaction. I mean, to be, you would think, to be fiscally responsible, that you may, purchase, whatever you're purchasing because it equates to a lot less dollars. But in the long run, I guess, what, I would like to see how everybody else feels about that. What that looks like on the bigger scale.
Well, I can be honest with you, there's a lot of people that do more shopping out of town. I do a lot of local shopping. I'm 100% believe we gotta keep our town going. But if you ask people around town, how many people actually go out and shop around town? There's a lot.
And Brent, I totally understand and respect that. People have personal choices. I'm not here to, to tell every citizen in this community that, you need to shop local. Everybody has choices. But as the town of Hanna and our representation and what we represent, that to me is a totally different entity.
We just have to be careful with the messaging. The messaging can't be, we'll buy local no matter what.
Yeah.
That's where I kind of like what Ange was saying, that maybe we have a percentage. If we can, when I ran my business in Elk Point, we were doing multi-million-dollar transactions. So when I use this, if I could buy it locally for 15%, then that's where I bought it. And I laid it on the line to the local bumper to bumper that we had in town, the gas station, so on and so forth. And I said, listen, if you guys are within 50% where I can buy it elsewhere, I'm supporting you. And I was a business in town as well. I mean, and the same thing as a business, and I'll tell you how many packages a day I get from Amazon and various other places, Canadian Tire and Princess Auto and Rock Auto and yada, yada, yada. We're averaging probably, I would say safely 40 packages a day dropped at the shop. So those are the ones that are not delivered. Pure Leader's doing about 100 drops a day in town. Loomis is doing about 45. FedEx is doing approximately 30 to 40, and UPS is about the same. So there's approximately 350 packages a day coming into town.
I have
Constable, yeah, sorry, see you have your hand up.
so I just put it up, so you could catch. And I think, like, as you know, my husband has a business as well, and the profit margin is whatever it is. But, I know when we have contractors come in and big projects going on, and they bring people in outside to do stuff that can be done local, and that are able to do it local, they're familiar with everything else. You don't have to pay subsistence within the price of other companies in and drilling screw piles, for example. And they know what they're doing, and when a contractor has the opportunity to ask about it, and the people that he's talking to, he has asked the question, well, do you know how deep you want it? And they haven't got a clue, and then he hears nothing. People locally are professionals. They rely on that. People know who they are. They're not going to screw the town over because based on their price and that sort of thing. But when you bring somebody in to do stuff that somebody else can do locally, and they screw up and they're costing extra and everything else, it adds on to the whole picture of the expenses that our community is paying. And that's where I have an issue, is that we've got talented people here that they pay a fortune in taxes, and I do agree with that. But on the same token, I think that just because a person has a business in town, that don't expect that I have to buy there, because I want to also save money as well. I'm on a limited budget or whatever else. And if it saves ordering stuff and going in and picking it up and still having a huge savings than buying local, that's where I have an issue as well. Just because you have a business here just does not, there have to be some sort of benefit as well to be able to, like you said, within a certain percentage, be able to purchase it where I'm not taking time off, I'm not paying fuel and everything else. But when all of that is covered with the amount that you save by going in and getting it directly, then I think the onus is on the businesses as well to make it or work with the people that are living in here and just figure, well, I have a business and you should be buying from me. Well, if it's twice or 3 times more than what I can get somewhere else. And I happen to buy local as much as I can. I haven't been to Costco for a long time, but if I'm in town or in the city for appointments and such, why shouldn't I be entitled to save some money as well?
No, and we're all in the same boat, I mean.
Yeah.
And I think in defense of the purchases, I'm pretty lucky I get to go through every invoice. I usually go through if there's something that sticks out a little bit weird, I mentioned to Cameron, we review a little bit. For the most part, I would say probably 85% of the consumables are purchased locally. So yeah, I think we're doing okay. The Amazon one jumps off the page all the time. And I've shared it with Kim in the past is, if we find something on Amazon, and I don't care if we go to Wireless Home Hardware, Next Fabrication, Fred's Dixie Cow Trading Service. Go to them and say, hey, would you do it for 5%? You can order it from Amazon, and then the town isn't making that purchase from Amazon and make you 5%, right? Oh, just some of the thoughts that I've bounced off before, so.
Well, the prices have to be reasonable.
Oh,
to
no,
a
yeah,
certain extent
exactly,
as
so
well.
it's just
Yeah.
perception
Yeah.
more than anything,
Yeah.
so.
So just want to respond to Councillor Bowden's comments. So sometimes on the large projects where we're hiring a general contractor, the subcontractors are out of our control to a certain degree. It happens a lot when we do road work. We do have gravel suppliers here, but when we put out a tender and the general contractor bids so much on that and generally gets the contract because it's low bid, they have the opportunity to purchase their gravel wherever they wish to purchase it. We can recommend local, and if they're a good businessman, unless there's a solid reason they local, but there's nothing that ties them. Again, it's in the business world, they create their relationships with subcontractors and suppliers. And sometimes even if they're gonna pay more, they've got a relationship. So on some of the larger ones like that, Council Bowden, it's kind of out of our hands because we award the general contract and they choose their suppliers and their subs, so.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Okay. Now, where was I?
Sorry, thank you,
No, no.
Mr. Mayor, for your concession. I appreciate that.
Yeah, budget overview.
Did we do statement of revenue? Did we finish that?
No,
Nobody
we
says-
got sidetracked in the middle of it, sorry. Any more questions on the statement of revenue? Motion to accept is presented. Councilor Murphy. All in favor? Carried. Budget overview.
Feels like I'm scrolling to my date of birth.
Council Bowden has a question.
Sorry.
That's okay. I have a question regarding the general administration column and where it indicates 728,000 under the 2023 budget. Why is that so much higher than the budget from 2022? Or do you know?
I don't see that figure in. Councilor Bowden.
It is here. It says page 1.
Okay.
Excuse me. I printed it off.
700?
720.
This is the overview on the budget. Council Bowden. And so
Sorry.
if you remember that, we can bring that up when we get there.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
That's it.
Seeing no questions, we get a motion
Oh,
to
yeah, sorry, my
accept the
apologies.
budget overview for April 2023 for information. Councilor Thorough. All in favor? Carried. Senior administrative officials reports.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have much to add for anything under my report. Certainly can answer any questions, but I do want to touch base with a couple of things in Kevin and Michelle's report. So as you hopefully saw, Kevin was awarded the Bruce Fowler Memorial Operator of the Year at the annual Alberta Recreation Facilities Personnel Conference. So great accomplishment for Kevin. Wanted to make sure we recognize that. The other thing Kevin did mention in his report too, we did do the pitch-in week cleanup. Guess last Tuesday night at the Ball Diamonds. That's kind of the headquarters. So it's getting to be a really good event if you get a chance to come out. So all the majority of the ball kids, their parents, soccer, their parents, and this year even the lacrosse group that's getting started in town wanted to participate. So they cleaned up around the arena, spray park area. So it was a great night too. Weather was good, but just wanted to mention that's a good event, and we appreciate all the help from those volunteers on that evening. Town does provide them with a beautiful hot dog lunch as a thank you, but it's a real good thing to see, and the kids get to see that they're there and they're cleaning and they're doing stuff and they're playing on those fields. Third thing I wanted to report is Michelle is working on Seniors Week activities, but we do have the Mayor's Garden Party scheduled for noon on Tuesday, June 6th. So if you want to mark that in your calendars to attend. And the other thing, just in case you're getting questions, there will be certainly some more promotion on it, but the pool is scheduled to open on May 20th for the season. And the last thing I want to remind council about is we do have the open house for the fire awareness and open emergency management tomorrow night at Fire Hall at 5:30. So and our UCP candidate will be in attendance and has basically is hoping that at a quiet time during the evening that perhaps he could get together with council members that are there as a whole and just talk about town priorities, town issues that he could, if he's elected, be able to work with the council on. So if you're there, don't run away until we've had that opportunity. So. And with that, I don't think I have anything else to add, but certainly we'll address any questions council may have.
What is the airport budget, what our tender look like?
That'll be coming up under our new
Sorry.
business. Yeah.
Have we talked at all with MP about the culverts versus bridge?
Little bit, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But it's still up in,
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, because that same waterway crosses Highway 9 through 2 24-inch culverts.
Yeah.
So,
Would there be, and do you think there'd be an economic benefit for having culverts versus a bridge?
I think it would be cheaper.
Yeah.
Way
about
cheaper.
half or less, I
Yeah.
would think.
And less maintenance. I would presume having a culvert
Well, they
compared to a
down
bridge.
at Big Stone, they took out the bridge down there. That feeds into Big Stone and put 2 big culverts in down there, and that's all part of transportation, I'm assuming, so, yeah.
Is that an option?
yeah, it's an option. We haven't moved down that road with that project, so.
But just, to have it in the books that,
Yeah.
maybe that could be considered to
Like I
get a
said,
price comparison
thinking
or
half.
something.
That's don't need yearly inspections.
Yeah, it's the, right, it's inspections.
Yeah, just. I wanna keep that, that's one of my,
Yeah, yeah.
one of my little pets, I wanna
Yeah.
keep it fresh, so.
Yeah, I'm glad. It's a good one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not trying to flog the dead horse or anything, but regarding the rummage sale and the Hanna Minor Hockey, I'm glad to see that CAO Neil will be kind of working with them to see if the groups can come up to a common consensus. My concern is that maybe promises might be made and maybe not kept. We have seen that recently. And that is my concern. I did talk to some of the ladies that normally work at the Ladies Auxiliary and the rummage sale. And a lot of them did not have an issue with the date. Fred and I did attend the Hanna Minor Hockey thing, and of course, they're very willing to work together with them, but I think it's got to be a win-win situation for both of them. And I, as a counselor, do not want to be part of saying the date is not available, and hope that it'll be some decisions could be made where both groups are considering the solution as a win, and whatever that may be. I really hope so that
At no
It's-
point in time did we ever say a date would not be available.
my understanding was saying that whether or not the end of, I think that was one of the options. in
Well, yeah, I guess terminology, we did indicate one of the options.
Yeah,
If council was making a decision was that we would, if council made the decision to inform the rummage sale that the date of September 30 would not be available, if is basically saying we're going to move the ice hockey season up.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be too optimistic, but I know that it appears that there is some movement on both sides to try and see if they can accomplish a date change in some fashion. And I think it would be, I can't speak for the hospital auxiliary, but I think at the end of the day, if they are willing to concede to move to a different date in the fall, that they would probably want it to be for a 1 year
oh, yes.
trial,
Yeah.
just to see how things turn out.
Yeah.
And I guess that's a win as far as I'm concerned, in terms, at least you know, instead of just trying to predict
Mhm.
what could happen with a change in date, at least that will give you some real knowledge. So,
Yeah.
so I know the hospital auxiliary is meeting tomorrow night. Gloria Cotton was going to get back to me following the meeting tomorrow night to kind of suggest some dates that they would be available to meet with a few people from minor hockey. So then, once I get some dates, I'll try and put something together. So.
Thank you for doing that. And I think Councillor Crowe and I had kind of requested that.
Yeah, no, you guys had
Situations we-
added in, minor hockey came directly to me as well, and so did, in the rummage sale, when speaking with Gloria, she would like to see a amicable solution.
Yeah.
If at all possible as well.
Yeah, thank you. So I had to say.
Anything else? Yeah, the excitement about the pool, somebody was on Facebook already today, saying there was water in it.
Oh, it's there, no.
Not much rain or.
So, yeah, so. Okay,
You mentioned a circus coming May 16th, so that's kind of a different spin, is kind of interesting.
Yeah, they booked it, we'll see how it turns out for them.
What's the location of that? Where are they having it?
You read it.
Oh, it's in the arena.
Generate some revenue. Does that mean then the concession will be open? Or somebody will be operating the concession, or that's strictly?
The circus company rents the entire facility, so how they choose to, sometimes they don't use the concession because they have their own
Mhm.
kind of food truck type
Yeah.
setup, so they work that way, but they rent the entire facility, so.
And I think as far as the rummage sale goes, I think that the people that were there, I stayed and helped pack things up at the end of the day, and I think they were greatly appreciative of the town staff and the work that they did to help them again this year. So, and the additional volunteers that I know Heartland was there as well as other groups.
Is that a question, Counselor Thorough, or?
No. Bigger wording than my computer.
For health. Mr. Olson,
No, Lori.
Lori, so you're not on the agenda.
I don't have, yeah, I don't have a report this month. Been busy working with the students. With the pool opening and epic adventures and helping them get some of that stuff into place, working on getting a new brochure printed. As we do every year, as we come up to our tourist season. And yeah, lots of other things.
So just wanna put this out there for you guys to think about too. So we have started our flyers in the post office. I don't know if you're getting any feedback from anyone and how
First one on
that's,
the counter tonight.
how that's working. We have taken the opportunity to use some old colored paper that was donated to us that was surplus. So it's not colorful in terms of graphics, but it's colorful paper, and we figured we'd take an opportunity to use it up while we've got it here. But we're gonna be looking for feedback on that as a method as well. We are advertising in the ECA review, whether you're hearing feedback from anybody one way or the other, positive, negative on those two methods. So keep that in mind when you're out talking to people, or ask the question of them in terms of what they like, how they like receiving this information. So, because it is relatively, we've been maybe a month or
I think
so.
we've had four mail drops. Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed quite a few and they do stand out and such, so.
Yeah, just wanted you to be thinking about that, because we'll need some feedback as we're moving forward on how we're going to expend dollars on communications. So
So, no, just silly question. So when the PACE brochure came out, anyone that had a no junk mail request on their mailbox didn't get it.
Yeah.
So does that apply to
Yes.
other?
yeah,
I believe it does. However, when I prepare the mail out, in the back end for Canada Post, and you have to do it all online. There's a little box that you can tick and it asks if it's a government or political mailing, and I always tick yes. Because I don't know if that means that it
Okay.
goes anyways. I don't know that. I don't have the flyer turned off on my post office box.
I think it still qualifies as a municipality, so that would still qualify as government, would it not?
What I don't know is whether or not. Because
That just
because we
close.
say that, does that mean it's gonna get into the no flyer box regardless?
Yeah.
I,
yeah, if you know somebody who doesn't get flyers, ask them.
I got it. I don't take flyers.
okay,
But you don't get any flyers in your box,
No,
but you're
But I
getting
got this
ours.
one.
Okay, so maybe that.
but maybe they notice, oh, that's his.
Yeah.
Maybe because we click government, it automatically goes in.
But there is some people I know that have no flyers and are still getting junk mail.
Oh, okay.
So it's once in a
I
while
think
there.
it's up to the person doing the sorting.
I think it is, whoever the sorter is, once in a while, they just,
I've actually been back there and there's actual tags on the back of the post office boxes themselves that are color coded as to whether you get
whatever.
junk or not, or so, yeah, because we had quite a uproar, very concerned individual about not getting the PACE one, and so I was picking up parcels in the back, and so they showed me how it worked and they're color coded basically, so. But yeah, it's kind of interesting.
I actually have a question.
Sure.
If there's an error on one of the signage that's been done in town, to whom would I refer that?
To me or Lori.
Just, it says public library and it's supposed to say municipal. We are the Hanna Municipal Library, not Hanna Public Library. So the sign's wrong. And it'd be
Okay.
really nice to fix that.
And that won't be that won't be an issue of the sign company.
That'll
That
be
would have
us.
been us administratively
And it may have been.
choosing that.
Length of words.
It's just, it's upsetting to the staff.
Oh, really? Because, okay, no one said anything, so.
They said it to me. I'm in the
Okay.
meetings.
So it'd be, yeah,
Thank you.
it's.
Hey, Brent,
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I have nothing further to add to the report this time. There's any questions?
no issues with sewer flushing at all so far?
Oh,
You got stuck once.
Well, we have an
Yeah,
issue,
we've
we have an
been
issue with the
stuck.
back truck.
So we
So,
do have an issue with the back truck. Our auxiliary motor has sprung a leak in the rad and it's a month out for parts.
That's
So
the hydrovac.
that's our hydrovac system. So it's down to, we can use it if we have a blockage or something, but they said a month out. They're hoping they're wrong. They're hoping it'll be here in a week. It's a John Deere engine, but they don't supply the rad for it. It's gotta come from Westpac, so.
Can we subcontract that to someone like Tough, or is it
we could, but it would be
expensive?
very expensive.
I think Top's running about 280 an hour right now for their hydrovac.
So I mean, we're over half done. So once Wes is back on Monday, I'll have him dig into it a little bit. But we're pretty sure that it just, we had a heat problem with it. So we're just thinking the rad needs to be replaced. So we'll look into it more, but I've ordered it just to make sure it's on its way. We've started line painting and the sweeper is just about done, ready to go up north to the new subdivision. Think he'll finish up by the school tomorrow and then we'll see about the new subdivisions. He's been keeping Lori and they've been keeping a map. It's been on Facebook and where we're going or trying to be and between digging graves and getting stuck and a few different things. Top Shot was here. Relatively no issues. We did have one small issue with the manhole down the block here. Had collapsed right near the end with a drop down, but they managed to be able to fix it and put it as a straight through. Which saved us a lot of money and time. We didn't have to dig. But they did good work. They're finished and out of here, so. That's about it. That's about it.
We're still doing sidewalks again this summer, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's generally towards the
So
fall.
how does that process work? I mean, I know, and I forgive me, I just want to refresh on my mind. We have someone comes out and does an assessment of our sidewalks.
We've had that done, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm just wondering, because there's a stretch of sidewalk in town that's very poor. And there's a few stretches, sorry, not one, but I just wanted to verify that that's how it's working, so.
Yeah, if you want to let me know what.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we had the report done. It's extensive.
Yeah, it is very actually.
It's extensive, but again, we work within the budget that council allows us. So we also have a sidewalk list and I tell people who come in, you can put your name on the sidewalk. Because we got people who put their name on the sidewalk list. There's absolutely nothing wrong with their sidewalk.
Yeah.
And I said, doesn't mean that you'll get your sidewalk fixed, but it's on the list. We try and do the best we can and try and do the worst ones with the money we have. So.
No, I just wanted to verify in my mind
Yeah.
that sorry.
Some of the guys were wondering about back alleys when you're going to maybe maintain them, you know, because they're starting to hold more water.
Yeah, what we generally do, Vern, is after the spring cleanup.
Yeah.
We go back, we go with the grader. The reason being is when we do spring cleanup, we run the tandems and the
Yeah.
loaders through. Even though we didn't get as much moisture as we want, we are finding some frost bubbles to come up where we don't normally. So if we get in there too early,
Yeah.
the grader actually causes more issues.
Oh, I know that.
But usually right after the long weekend, after the cleanup week,
Yeah.
we can tell how hard they are, and then that's when Braden
Yeah.
starts.
I'm gonna let them know this. You got water in now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just rain, yeah.
Yeah. But even before that, I think there's some,
Yeah.
and yeah, like,
There is some that are.
like our alley is.
Yeah,
is
you've got a
nasty.
frost boil.
Yeah,
And
and
I
you've
didn't-
never had one.
No, we
before.
haven't.
No, so
It's
they
been
pop up in different
somewhat,
spots.
but
East side of my
not
shop
like
this year, Brad.
Yeah.
What's that?
But I,
East side of my shop, I got a frost boil. Never had one there before, ever.
And they go all over. There's usually one down here. We don't have one this year, but we have one over in.
Yeah,
and I
Down
can
the middle
phone
layer.
about that.
No, we,
My neighbor. had-
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
fine.
and that's fine. It's okay to let us
You got
know.
your back out.
Because if it gets too deep, we can usually go in with the loader and just backblade it
Just
quick.
back.
Just to knock them down so they're not hitting it. So it's good if we know.
Yeah, we're
But
trying
yeah,
to drive over the hump and
Squish
it's
it out.
getting soft.
No, but you don't want to drive over the hump.
Getting
You don't
more.
want to
damage.
drive into the.
Yeah, you might get stuck there.
Yeah,
What we have been doing, and I see Green Slate is actually crushing some concrete. We have gotten some product from him before we put it actually in the home hardware alley and it tightened it up really well. So we just get like a bucket of like concrete and we'll put it in there. The best way would be to dig it out, but there's so much
Well,
to do.
that isn't an indication of maybe a leak, like a water leak.
No, because there's no water in here. I mean, it's all.
Yeah. Sandra, on the west side of my shop, I've got a frost boil and I've never had one there.
Yeah.
Straight off the west access into my shop, like off the west doors. There's always been one out in the mid front of the yard, not there this year, but I got one on the west side of the shop, and I don't know why or how or what causes them, but. They randomly just move and pop up and.
Well, we can go the other way, so don't make it a special.
No,
trip to
the
that.
neighbor phone, so we've been watching it, so we're trying to keep.
Yeah, no, I had, yeah.
And it's okay to call because we
Yeah.
would never expect one in your alley. We
Yeah.
were expecting it down here.
Mhm.
So far, it's been good.
I have a question as
Go ahead.
well. Mr. Olson, so have you lost staff for firefighting lately? or
Not as yet.
Not yet.
The government has, as of last night, they have requested that a unit goes up. The problem, it was going to be the special areas, Timberwolf. The problem is people that are available to leave. We didn't have enough in order to give them a quick enough answer.
Okay.
And it was more to find a senior officer to take the young. We had quite a few young guys interested, but
Mhm.
you have to have somebody that's been there.
Mhm.
So we've got bumped. Potentially, maybe next week. And I have one young guy that like to go.
Mhm.
And I'm not gonna deprive him of that. He's got some holidays and it's a good experience.
Yeah.
So if they get enough crew and we actually are asked again, I might lose one person. But
What about local? I know there's been a few fires around the area. Are you losing any during the week?
no, we haven't actually.
Yeah.
Veteran has had, a big fire. We've had a couple small, like a bale trailer on fire and we were able to contain it. Relatively quickly, so a lot of the farmers around here are being very cautious, have water trucks with them.
Yeah.
And like I said, touch wood, and when we've been very
Well, it
fortunate.
was a little bit of a ditch burn in a couple of spots.
Yeah.
But it was kind of strange because it was about 10, 12 feet wide and about 30 feet long, and then down the road another
Yeah.
100 meters or whatever, there was another spot identical to it. It was almost like, remember when the train
Yeah,
started out, it looked similar to that, but they weren't connected, but.
Or even fire, I know a few years ago, there were some kids up from another city that had fire, starter pistols. And were shooting them in the ditch and started a lot of fires. And I understood there was one north of, like off 855, that I believe, I heard it started from a quad.
that's,
And so there is a few things, can I bring up something about fire within?
Yeah.
So I know of a situation where a local resident was burning leaves in the yard. And a wind was quite substantial. They were right there and such, but so I checked out our bylaw for fire and I think 2002, and the penalty or the fine is $100. And I would like to see that increase to like $2,500 or something, so that people are aware, or if there is an incident that somebody is doing that, you know, is there gonna be more promotion if there are no open fires? And burning grass in your yard?
Well, it's against the bylaw.
Well, I realize that, but I'm just not sure that maybe some new residents are aware that that is a bylaw and that is against the law to do that. And the question was given, you know, are you aware that it's illegal to do that? And they said, well, how come? Aside from the fact that they could burn the house down, and everything else, to me, that is sort of a lack of understanding that in our area, our wind blows and it can set a fire going in a heartbeat. So I'm just wondering and concerned if there is some indication or some need, I guess, to increase that and revisit that bylaw. At least if there is a cost for a fire truck going out to that particular area, that maybe it would be cost or.
I don't know if there's certainly that would be discretion of council whether they wanted to increase the fines. Normally, what will happen if we get a complaint of someone burning? They'll generally, after hours, they'll call the RCMP. They'll call Brent or Dave. They go over, generally, I don't know if you go over too many places in a year. You might go to a couple in a year that where someone's having a fire and they've let it get too high or whatever, and then they basically go. I don't think we've ever had any issue when our members have gone there and said, had a complaint, your fire's too high, slower, or we're putting it out.
Is there a ban on right now in town?
There's no ban in town.
But there is no burning, like there are no open, they have to be in a barbecue or in a pit or something.
Well, you need to burn in a proper fire
Vestibule, yeah.
container, and you're only allowed to clean dry wood.
Mhm.
So
You're
if
not
anybody
allowed.
asks you why, I mean, back in the old days with incinerators and burning barrels, you could burn whatever. The
Yeah,
biggest reason is people don't want that smell, so the leaves, the trees cause excessive smell, and we get called every way. So that's why the bylaw says clean dry wood.
well, I understand, but my concern is, you know, I think $100 is like
Yeah.
big deal. But if it was $2,500 or if it was something else, I think maybe some people don't realize how fast a fire can spread when the wind gets in and carries it on. And it would be nice to be proactive instead of reactive and try to maybe promote the bylaw that, you know, you cannot do
We
this.
should put that in my newsletter.
Well, I don't know if we'll have space for that, Mr. Mayor, but certainly looking at Lori, it's certainly something we can do.
We do it fairly regularly,
Social
Mr.
media
Mayor,
program, but
and talk with the fire chief, and we do kind of like an annual plan. I'm sure it's coming to light right now because of the conditions.
yeah.
And so, you know, timing is everything, and we've done it in the past and obviously hasn't been recognized.
yeah.
Well, I don't think a bigger fine is gonna make a difference, because like you said, this individual didn't really even have an understanding,
Well, that's the thing, but
you know, so they need to be educated.
But at least then we have, you know, if there is a situation, then people kind of carry the weight based on the amount of the fine, in my opinion, but yeah, anyways, that's all I have to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question. I just, every time I look at this, and I should have asked this a year ago, but we have the senior administration officials report, and we have Brent always is usually here, and Lori, but we have Kevin. Does he not attend the meetings then ever, or?
Council meetings?
Yeah,
Yeah.
No.
so is that kind of standard because he is senior administration as well, is identified on there, or is that just?
No, what we've done
I'm just curious.
previously, when we had the position of Director of Community Services, the Director of Community Services report would deal with stuff that Kevin and Michelle would have in their report. When we did replace that individual, I still felt that they had valuable information that should come forward, so we just kind of attached them underneath myself, versus me having a 45-page report. We've attached theirs because I think the information they can provide is good, so.
Yeah, thank you. That makes sense. Thank you for that. I just kind of was curious. Thank you.
Okay, no other questions? We have a motion to accept senior administrative official report 8.01 to 8.03 as presented for information. Council motion, all in favor? Carried. Spring budget adjustments.
So, Mr. Mayor, I'm not gonna go through this document. This is the document we went through at our council information meeting, so based on the discussion there, we brought this forward to set the spring budget adjustments. The one big difference being that we didn't have the answer to when we met at our council info was what council wanted to do with the tax rate. So this budget that's been presented to you before last week is the same budget with a 1% decrease in the residential municipal tax rate and a 3% decrease in the non-residential tax rates, leaves us with a transfer or a surplus of $136,582. So I don't know, I don't think you want me to go through that again, but if there's any questions,
So that 136,000, is that including the 120,000 from the two trucks, so we're not spending?
correct, well, yeah, if we would have made a motion, or if the motion would have passed to purchase two vehicles at 120, then your surplus would have been down to 16.
Okay, thank you.
This is where I have a question.
Yeah,
And I apologize again. So this is under the general administration and 728,600 versus the revenue from the 2022 budget of 569,300.
yeah. So one of the big difference there, just off the top of my head, so we, in 2023, the province doubled our MSI operating grant.
Oh,
So
okay, yeah. no,
it
that-
went from 150 to 306. So
Okay.
I think that's
Good
probably the
portion.
biggest portion of that right there, Council Ford. So-
Okay, and that makes sense, yeah. And I'm also wondering, where it says 2022 projected. I'd sure like to see the actual amount that was, well, I guess it's similar to what the 2022 budget is, or,
Well, not necessarily. For the most part, it's pretty close, but not necessarily. We could go back. I don't know. I'd have to look.
oh, not right now, but.
No, but I mean, we could go back and now that we've done our year end is done and our audited financial statement is done, we could go back in and make sure the projected ones are,
Yeah.
and we could change that to actual.
Yeah, like in this format as well that we've got in there, that budget overview is kind of nice to have that, like you've got the budget for the previous year, the actual from the previous year, and then the budget for 2023. As far as the 2022 projected, I really don't care.
Okay,
Like, that's my
Okay.
opinion.
okay.
I care about how they compare, how the budgets compare to the actual spending and such, but that's just my own preference.
Yeah, no, we can look, up until we get the financial statement done.
Yes,
Um,
well, and that's understandable. You don't
changes,
have
so-
that, yeah,
yeah,
so. Thank you.
Any other questions?
And we're seeing an increase in the police amount due to the increase in costs that is coming down to each community.
well, the increase in the police budget, just want to be clear, is part of their provincial or their municipal police once they started charging
Yeah.
communities under 5,000. So next year, I think it goes up to 148,000.
Yeah.
So it's a significant change. I know there's lots of discussion you'll hear from other larger places about
Back pay.
back pay.
Yes.
We're not, because we pay our contract directly to the province based on an amount that the province has set aside, we are not expected to contribute to any of the back pay, so.
Well, and you'd also mentioned as well that because we did not pay for our policing prior to that, which is what you said, basically, that, yeah, why would we pay the back pay
Yeah,
when we
so-
were paying police to begin with?
So I know it's been a big thing with it's been a big thing with FCM and all these groups trying to put the onus back on the RC or the feds to cover, but it won't impact the town of Hanna.
Any questions? More questions? Recommend a motion.
Yeah.
Whereas council approved the 2023 operating and capital budget for the town of Hanna as of December 13th, 2022. Council meeting, and whereas the adjustments adopted by the budget were required for various reasons prior to setting the 2023 tax rate, and whereas 2023 operating capital budget has been adjusted to reflect a decrease 1% change in residential municipal tax rate for 2022 and a 3% decrease on the non-residential municipal tax rate in 2022, and a transfer to surplus in the amount of $136,582. Therefore, council adopts the 2023 operating capital dated May 9, 2023 as amended, and the spring budget adjustments except the 2024 and 2025 operating budgets, the 2024 and 2026 capital budget for information. Councilor Cole. Any more discussion? All in favor? Carried.
That's all I wanted to do.
You did good on that, Mr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Runway lighting replacement project.
So, Mr. Mayor, we did have in our capital budget $470,000 to replace the airport runway lighting. And we had a grant from the province to cover 75% of that. We recently finished the design, went out to tender. There was 4 bids received on the project. The low bid was from TriStar Electric Incorporated, the amount of $249,822. MP has not worked with them directly, but have been in contact with their representatives, and they specialize in airport lighting, and they're out of Ontario. They are working in Alberta at this time on a few other projects, so they wanted to capitalize on their time here and had the lowest bid by $35,000. So we two things here. We want to amend the budget, capital budget, because it was 470. We only need 352,822 in the budget, and that 352,822 will include the contract to TriStar. It will include a contingency of $35,000, and it also has a engineering estimate of $68,000. So that comes up to that 352,822.
Or I kind of have an issue with going to Ontario versus an Alberta firm. Are these others? Is the North Star and Western Alberta?
I don't know.
I'm just, as far as supporting local type thing, as well as if there's issues with it, do we go back to them or?
Issues with what?
Like say there's some issues and somebody has to come and address it.
TriStar will be responsible for the warranty period and any deficiencies.
And is that for a 5-year?
Generally, deficiencies and warranty are anywhere 1 to 3, probably. Yeah, I guess my only comment, Councilor Bowden, I know I understand wanting to support Alberta, but you have to be very careful when you go through a tender process and award a tender when you're not accepting low bid. You can get yourself in some significant hot water if because a reason to support a bid one over the other because it's local or versus non-local doesn't fly with the tendering and purchasing policies. So I just want to advise that I understand the sentiment, but I think if you didn't select the low bid and that was your criteria, TriStar would have every opportunity to legally challenge the non-acceptance of their bid. So,
well, in that same sort of token, I guess, then we are getting federal money coming into Alberta as well.
well,
Not this particular thing,
Yeah.
but we have gotten, as far as Prairie's Can and that sort of thing. So I guess it's maybe a moot point. So thank you.
Any idea what it was?
Did you have a question, Councilor Darrell?
Yeah, that's so for the money that we're saving, is that just going to go back into our reserves or
So
part of the? funding
So
back to
we had
special?
budgeted, I believe the town had budgeted our share to be 58,750.
Yeah.
So now we're looking at 44,103, so that 13,000 you'll see what will happen when we factor this into the budget we just approved. There'll be additional surplus of 13,000. And again, special areas would contribute, so they would contribute 13,000.
Yes.
Any idea on the start time?
I don't have any idea on the start time, Mr. Mayor. And they will probably have, the lighting, night lighting or night flying limited, during construction for upwards of a month, so. But that'll be on the NOTAM, and pilots will are required to check that before. And again, once we get into summer, we've got longer days anyways, but,
That was my concern
Yeah.
with drawing it out into August or September versus doing it in June, July.
yeah. It'll be, and I don't know, I would probably fit in where they're at with their other projects that they're here for, so.
Recommend a motion to council amends the 2022 capital budget for the airport runway lighting replacement from 470,000 to 352,822, and award the tender of the town of Hanna Airport runway lighting replacement to TriStar Electric in the amount of 249,822 plus GST. The funds derived from the province of Alberta's transportation infrastructure program grant, 264,217. The town of Hanna, 44,103, and special areas, 44,102. Why did I give it to you?
Cause I was nice.
Okay, motion please. Council Cole. All in favor? Carried. Visitor information.
So, Mr. Mayor, we've talked at this table about, operation of the DIC. Harvest Sky has, agreed to provide the management and operation services of the DIC for the 23 season. So I have an agreement, here for council's approval that is, almost identical to the one we had with Lynx. The only caveat and the only difference in this one is, I'll have to find the right section. It is where I say the town will be responsible for. So under the town's portion on page 2, there's a section of what we will continue to provide. And then there's a bullet that says at the conclusion of the season, if the operation of the facility shows a financial loss, then the town of Hanna will compensate Harvest Sky in full for any losses. I do believe, whether it's going to be a success financially will depend on government grants. And I think, talking with Mark today, I don't know if the strike is holding things back, but I know that the town hasn't received any notice on our Canada Summer Jobs application, neither has Harvest Sky. Typically, we hear the last week in April, which is late enough as it is. If they are successful there, I think that they'll probably have a fairly break-even season. If they're not, that's probably will be some extra compensation that the town will have to step up for.
So just a dumb question or comment, I guess, maybe not so much. So if Harvest Guy will be able to keep any profit.
Yes, yes.
So that's the motivating factor and to try and.
Well, I don't know if that's the motivating factor,
Well, but you
Councillor
know what I
Bowman,
mean,
but,
it's a benefit as
it's
well.
a benefit. Certainly, I think following the end of this season or even during this season, I'm in close contact with Mr. Dakota and I'll definitely get some feedback on how it's going, whether it's working, whether it's not working. You know, and we'll go from there and we'll take that feedback under advisement. And if at the end of the day, it wasn't a fit for Harvest Sky and, you know, we'll be looking down a different avenue again in 2024. On an optimistic side, maybe it fits really good and there's some good synergies and it works well and Harvest Sky will say, yeah, we want to do this again. I don't think it'll be dependent on finances. I think it'll be just be dependent on how it fit with their vision and their workflow and their whole tourism promotion. So
So I'm relatively confident it's not lucrative.
you're relatively confident that it is not lucrative. Yes. I believe last year Lynx indicated to me that they felt they made about $5,000 at the end of the season, once all their expenses were taken care of. So,
Which isn't a whole lot, but.
no,
My only concern about saying we promise to pay you back if you don't make any money is it kind of reduces the motivation to really try hard because whatever we lose is covered by the town. We don't know how much that could be. There's no caveat to say within reason or he gives everyone a week
But
off.
there's also, we don't know that they were gonna get our summer employment stuff, and they don't know if they're gonna get it or not either, so.
and as an
Yeah.
entity that we are a partner with,
Yeah.
we are a corporate shareholder in, they can't afford to go into this situation and lose $10,000. So I know it is a bit open-ended, Councilor Murphy. I fully agree, fully admit to that. But I do have confidence that Mr. Dakota will keep a close eye on it and they're not going to just say, well, it doesn't matter how much ice cream we sell. You know, again, ice cream is a portion of what they do. But they also still have an obligation to provide good customer service and tourism services to visitors and locals. So
Could we move the ice cream booth somewhere else? It's relatively convenient for me. It's very detrimental
I
to
think-
my weight loss
I think
program.
back about 12 years ago, the town invested a significant amount of money to have it in that location.
So I should move there.
Yes. Slowly.
And
Don't
their doorstep.
cross the road.
I use my justifications, I walk down there and back, so that's.
And I'm not gonna,
It's so good.
I'm not going to have an opinion on the ice cream, but it is going to be a different ice cream supplier.
Oh,
Nestle will
we'll have to go
not,
try it.
Nestle will not provide ice cream for the visitor information center. We think it's a big operation, it's too small for them, so they're out. So they'll be looking at Foothills or another.
Oh, Foothills.
Foothills comes twice a week
Yeah.
anyway, so.
Yeah.
Good ice cream.
Mr. Neal, Mr. Mayor,
What,
just in regards to what you said too, just sitting on the Harvest Sky Hub, as a director on the board, I think there's full confidence in what Mark can do. He is fully confident and will do it because he is a joint entity with us.
Mhm.
It was the board that was concerned. If we do take a loss, what does that look like?
Right.
And so that's where some of the concerns had, but Mark in full confidence, you know,
Great.
was in a position to take this on. So that was not a problem, but
Thank
there was questions around the board. So that.
And rightly so.
Yeah, so we didn't want to stage the board up for failure. We wanted to make sure that we were in a successful position in the end of it all.
Yeah, and I happen to agree with that too, that just given with what Mr. Nakota has done in the last little bit, yeah, I've got full confidence that he's gonna do everything within his powers to
make it work.
try and make it work.
Yeah, thank you.
okay, so recommend motion that council authorize chief administrator officer to enter into memorandum of agreement with the town of Hanna, the Harvest Sky Economic Development Corporation, and as property Harvest Sky to allow Harvest Sky the management operations of the Visitor Information Center for the 2023 season. Motion.
I'll make-
Counselor Warwick, I figured it'd be one of you two, I was hoping it would be.
Well.
All in favor? Carried.
I would appreciate the support, just.
Oh, I really can't believe Counselor Olson is here for this. Long-term care duck raising request. Any more discussion?
So the only thing that I will say, Mr. Mayor, if you remember back to when we gave the J.C. Sherrick
Pilot project.
pilot project, we did have a location, or we did have a condition that they provide notices to the surrounding residents. And we also, as a municipality, provided notices to the surrounding residents, just informing them that we were trying this. If you had any questions or concerns, to direct them to school. It was a pilot project. I haven't put anything in this one or the lodge one, primarily because I don't believe there'll be any effects to the residents, with the long-term care one being enclosed and the lodge one on the west side of their building. I just couldn't see,
The closest would be probably 300 yards.
Public access is.
oh, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Craig would be closer probably, but I mean, as far as on Palliser Trail, those would be the next closest. So there's nothing in there at this point in regards to providing a notice. I do indicate that we will provide notice through our social media program that council has allowed permission to do this on a trial basis, but there's no direct notification.
No personal, I think that's sufficient. Yeah. Okay, any other discussion? Can I make the motion?
Yes, of course you can.
I would like to make the motion to council approve the Hanna long-term care to the raising of 6 Indian runner ducks on the HS property between the months of May and September under the following conditions. Approval will be a trial project from May to September 2023 only. Long-term care staff will be responsible to ensure the ducks will not be materially affect neighboring residents through noise, odor, etc. The long-term care staff will respond satisfactory to any concerns that may be raised regarding the duck care of raising the ducks. Location where the ducks will be kept will be in an enclosed courtyard. All in favor? Carried. Hanna Lodge, the urban hen project.
So same thing here. The only difference between the two is that we basically say the location of chicken coop will be on the west side of the Hanna Lodge building.
Any more discussion?
I would like to make that motion.
I thought you would, so.
As the member of the Acadia Foundation, I would
Yes.
like to make a motion that the Hanna Lodge be allowed to try the temporary for this year of the Urban Hen Project.
Councilor Wilson?
Hi.
Oh, you're all in favor?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought maybe you had
No, no,
wanted to
no, no,
interject.
sorry.
Gary,
Thank you, support of it, yeah.
So you'd be the first one to make that new soup today.
Yeah. Duck soup.
I was kind of
Chicken
thinking
soup.
chicken soup was what I was thinking. but-
I'll go visit my mom at the long-term care, grab the chicken.
We got our first response. Yay, we're so excited. You have to come see them once they have.
They have some at the school and my granddaughter got to watch one hatch and she was beside herself, so.
Okay, what do we got left here?
Bylaw,
So I'll just take as a quick peek. what we have left.
probably not much, Mr.
Yeah,
Mayor.
no, I was considering a brief 5-minute. Thinking again. We're on to 10.01 bylaw, the 1031, 2023, the 2023 tax rate bylaw.
So just briefly, Mr. Mayor, this does incorporate the 1% decrease residential, the 3% non-residential. You will see that the residential tax rate will change, will decrease 0.1953 mils. And the non-residential tax rate will decrease 0.5532 mils. As you see in the background report, just using the assessed value of $200,000, everyone will see a change, decrease. We did the sample of 15 properties, and you will notice that on the residential side, I think all but one see a decrease in their taxes. The one that doesn't is an apartment building with, as you look at the assessed value went up significantly, so that's why they will be paying higher taxes than they did in 2022. And on the non-residential side, again, majority of them do go down. If they don't go down, it's because their property had a pretty serious or significant increase in assessment. So this is one, Mr. Mayor, where we hope to provide 3 readings. So then we can get the taxes out and get people
So if we
knowing that
drag
they
our
have till
feet
the
long
end of
enough, then we
August.
can't do anything.
Pardon me?
If we all drag our feet long enough, we can't get taxes.
Yeah, and then we don't have any tax revenue coming
Okay.
in.
Yeah.
Broke.
That's Freetown.
Yeah, council get first reading to 10/31/2023, the 2023 tax bylaw, motion. Council Kroll, all in favor? Second reading, 10/31/2023, the 2023 tax bylaw. Second motion. Council Murphy, all in favor? Carried. Council give unanimous consent for the third and final reading of 10/31/2023, the 2023 tax rate bylaw at this meeting. Motion to go
And
ahead.
Councilor Warwick had her hand up.
Oh, sorry, Council Warwick, go ahead. Get motion for that,
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, thank
Council
you.
Warwick?
Third reading.
all in favor? Carried. Council give third and final reading to 10/31/2023, the 2023 tax bylaw. All in favor? Carried. Mayor Pavlicek made that.
Pardon me?
Mayor Pavlicek made the last motion.
Okay.
Oh. Anything else from anyone?
Council roundtable?
That's where I'm going next. Councilor Kroll,
Only thing I got to add is that Angie and I we're going to the Jasper.
Alberta, Japan.
Yeah.
Twinning Municipalities Association Conference.
But
The fire, with the fire, it's not gonna be possibly,
we're just-
no, but I'm wondering if it's gonna be delayed or canceled, just
No,
because the
it's
the
a go.
travel dangers.
We just got emails today on it,
Okay,
and it's a
We were
go.
hoping it was gonna be.
We were hoping that they'd, postpone it.
just the pictures from the highway in your
Right.
Banff are just incredible.
I don't like. I'm gonna check the roads, like the roads condition going there and stuff, but
for the sake, you have to go through Ensign if I'm not mistaken, correct?
yeah.
Well, that's
Well,
short, so
Highway
you can
6
go,
shows, but,
you can go up through Nordegg or you can go through Banff up 93,
But
so
Edson's.
Depending on. Oh, gosh.
my Lord, yes.
They love their-
it's a little further, definitely. I don't know if Nordegg's much different, to
No,
be
Nordique's
honest.
actually shorter,
Is it a little bit shorter?
but it's not a lot. Cause you go up, you come back down.
Councilor Bowden, anything to add?
No, I just apologize for not submitting it earlier, and as you can see, there is a hard copy.
Councilor Warwick?
Just a couple things I just want to make mention that I didn't put in my report. PEP, Palliser Economic Partnerships, we had a meeting this afternoon. They hired a new administrative assistant. Barb Kulik will now be taking on that position. starting May 25th. Yeah, just burn two, also another note there, Walter Valentini was our interim executive director, this last year. His contract, expired on March 31st. And he wasn't really active over the last several months, but unfortunately, he was diagnosed with cancer, and we got word last night that he had passed away on May 1st.
That quick?
Yeah.
Unexpectedly. Yeah, so pretty sad news. Anyhow, it's kind of discussed in the meeting today, just, yeah, people are pretty devastated, just really quick. Our Mr. Jones had been spending some time with him over the last little while, going to visit him and stuff, but anyhow, on Thursday, they're going to have his intern in Calgary. I mean, if anybody was wanting to go, I have the details on that, but yeah, so very unfortunate that it was totally unexpected. By
That was
all,
quick.
including his family, so yeah, but yeah, so that's it for mine.
So Murphy?
My apologies to the council that I did not submit a report. I just moved into my little house as well as moved my mom into long-term care. In the meantime, though, I did spend 3 days in Strathmore at the end of April for the Marigold. I am the chair of the HR committee. So had to do all that fancy stuff. I did well, so haven't done that for a long time. So that was a really good 3 days. Also had, I think that's about it. Oh, yes, we had a library board as well as the Acadia Foundation still fighting to try and get bums in beds, and it's looking a little better this year, certainly than the last little bit. And I think that's about it.
When you say bumps in bed, are they short?
Yep.
We went from a wait list to 50% occupancy
Oh, I didn't realize
for the
that.
last 2.5 years.
Kind of COVID, right before COVID.
COVID started it, and the momentum just left.
I did not realize that.
And
Wow.
so, or 60%. And when you've got places like Oyen, they have never had an empty bed since they opened. They had at least 6 to 8 months of people on wait lists, and they have nobody. So that's why we're changing the formula to allow for supportive living level 3, which allows access to a nurse 24 hours a day, which they don't have right now. As well as supportive living level 4 and 4D, which is for the dementia. And so they're working on putting a wing in Oyen, as well as turning the 3rd floor of the lodge into SL3, so that you can have people, now they're commingling. You could be on the 1st floor until you're needing health care, like my mom, and she couldn't go back. But now they could just go up to the 3rd floor, and now they've got or stay in their room and have the nurse come to them. So these are really exciting changes. Alberta Healthcare is completely on board, and within the next 6 months, they will have it opened in Oyen. We're next. As soon as that works, and it will, I'm very confident that we've got such good people working on it. And then we're next, and we're going to turn a portion of the Hanna Lodge into supportive living 3, allowing people to not be in long-term care when they're not needed to be there. If they're still independent, but they need health, home care 3 or 4 times a day, they can't be in the lodge. Now they can be. So that's really exciting. Yes.
Councillor Murphy, I thought I heard somewhere about Oyen, also providing accommodation for, contract nurses, is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
They have, actually in Consort, they have 5 rooms being paid for by Alberta Health Services. That has increased the amount of contract nurses interested in going there, because they don't have to worry about sketchy rooms, staying in motels with some of the workers from these windmill projects. It's just a really bad mix. A lot of them are female and younger. So they really feel safe, and the rooms are booked. They bought furniture locally at the Brick in Oyen or in Hanna and furnished the rooms, and the staff come in. Let's say they're on a 3-month project. They don't have to worry, it's paid for. It's been fantastic. So we've actually furnished a room in Hanna, and we're working on doing that for contract nurse here. And they have at least 3 in Oyen that are full-time in their rooms. It's generating revenue, which allows us not to ask for more money from the towns. And it's just a change in dynamic because of the pandemic. in the long-term view, I think we'd prefer to have seniors who need assistance. But this, in some cases, the rooms are a little off to the side and it's worked out really well.
So they're not displacing.
Oh, my goodness, no. Number one priority is always
Yep.
the citizens that qualify under the lodge program.
Yeah.
But because it's for independent living, it really restricts them to the point where their hands are tied.
Yeah.
They can't help. My mom was on the floor for 3 hours because she forgot how to use a call button. But with this kind of service, and they went checked on her, she hadn't showed up for lunch. But with the supportive living, she would, if she fell on the floor, it would go off
Yeah.
and the nurse would know to come and check on her. So
Yeah.
it's a really good system. I think there's a lot of hope.
Oh, yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's great too. Yeah. Thank you.
Councilor Farrell.
Well, I just got a couple of things there. I see Mr. Olson isn't here tonight. Could get him to come up to Stettler to accept the check for Hanna Minor Golf. We got a $750 donation from our Elks Foundation as the host of the provincial conference. And so our little committee, we decided to put it towards the Hanna Minor Golf this year.
That's awesome.
And the other thing is, we got a Mother's Day pancake breakfast this Sunday. And Michelle got a hold of the Elks, so we're gonna do the seniors pancake breakfast on June the 10th.
On the Saturday.
Yeah.
So
believe
how old do you have to be a senior?
14.
And where,
Thank you.
where are you doing it?
We're doing it at the seniors
Circle
circle.
for the Mother's Day as well as the,
The seniors breakfast is going to be at the community center
okay.
on the patio. If it's nice, if not, we're doing it inside.
So you're having two separate ones?
That's on
So-
June the 10th.
Mother's Day?
There's a wedding.
Yeah, but we're doing it in the morning, so we're doing it outside, so it has nothing to do. with
So May 14th and then June 10th is the senior one.
Yeah, and they're both.
Ben, we know where you'll be.
And I heard you're also doing a pancake breakfast for the football teams.
Yeah, we got a phone call there, the lady, she's heck of a sales lady. But no, it was the same program as we did for the Sun Bowl. All the time we did a breakfast and they go to get us numbers. The one guy told us 1,000 people. I said, well, that's all right, a lot of hot dogs. And, whatever. But no, we got a crew already prepared. They are ready to get a pancake breakfast already. So our grills are
Hot.
ready to go.
Good. And that is when again?
There's one this Sunday.
Yeah, no, but this.
The other one is
football
June 10th. Oh, the football one is.
Oh, and I don't know
July.
if they, I don't know
They
if
haven't-
they set the date.
They haven't- One of two dates.
The
Sometime in
Can-Am
July.
Bowl is on Saturday, July 8th is
Yeah.
the day of the game. Talking with Cam last night, I don't think the breakfast will be Saturday morning, that they're playing,
Yeah,
but it's probably will be probably the Friday morning.
Yeah.
Which would be the July 7th, and then my understanding, Vern, it's just gonna be for the players and the coaches.
yeah, and some of the parents and
Yeah.
whatever. You know, it's a small group, like
Yeah.
I said, anything under 400 will be happy. But,
Good, awesome.
No, and just got one request that we got to ask you guys before is we're wondering if the town would like to donate some literature for our grab bags for our meet and greet up at Stettler. Like we've collected from every other community.
Yeah.
And that's when? When is
That's
the
we're having our big meet and greet is June 1st is our grand opening and
Hey, Lori will work with you.
Yeah.
Counselor Stewart,
Yeah,
and get you
because,
some sort of package.
the hub there already give us some stuff from the special areas, a little bit about the parks around here, so.
Okay.
And it's coming well, I said, figured out my mileage, I told them I'm going to charge 52 cents a kilometer, and I've already put 6,000 kilometers on my vehicle to go back and forth to Stettler. As the representative from this area.
Hey, I've got a couple of really exciting things. Had a meeting with the staff sergeant, about our policing, priorities. And we're getting a full-time member on a Red Deer to fill in the spot that's been vacant for a little while.
Good.
With that, we're getting a nurse in that package deal. We're also talking to a couple of the nurses that we have on staff. They feel about 95% confident that they have another 0.8 nurse moving to the community. So that will fill their, what you call it? Registrar, whatever you call it. So, yeah, so kind of some cool
They need a
news.
room, like
Yeah.
call Dina, the lady who was here earlier, she
Yeah.
will take care of them.
So, but yeah, so it sounds like everything's good. Policing's been going along fine. Rob and I had kind of an informal meeting and then, like I said, I signed an agreement or something for the staff sergeant. So basically kind of what we're looking for in the community and, public awareness was kind of the topic of conversation. So, yeah. And, Kim, do you want to talk with Tracy a little bit?
No, go ahead first, if there's something.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
so I've been in contact with Tracy a couple of times. I think she had the idea she was gonna go up there and it was gonna be, kick back and I know my stuff and, it's been a lot more than she anticipated. In fact, I have some very entertaining pictures of her being pepper sprayed. In part of her training, and so she's, been doing real well with all of her tests and court and classes and stuff, but like she fully admitted to me that it was a lot more than she anticipated, so. She should be back 5 weeks, Kim, 4 weeks now.
Graduation day is June 1st.
Yeah, so approximately 3.5 weeks, so, yeah, but it's kind of funny, just I reached out to her kind of just to see how she was making out, and it was almost, you could feel the sigh of relief over the phone that somebody cared about her, and I kind of laughed, and I said, well, we're all kind of concerned on it, not concerned, but wondering how you're making out. He said, yeah, it's a lot more than I thought it would be, so.
She'll look forward to coming back to the.
Yeah,
local
she's
safe community.
already very aware of what she's coming back to, so. But
Good.
yeah, and other than that, I think she's doing great up there. Like I said, she sent me every time she does a test, she sends me a mark. It was 95 once and 87 once because she did a stupid mistake. And but yeah, so it's kind of cool that she's actually getting a lot more of it than she thought she would. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Give you anything that,
No, the main thing I think was, I think she thought that she could still deal with some of the bylaw issues while she was away, whether it's through email or with phone and stuff, but she's basically said, I can't do any of that, so it's been a little bit of a challenge, but we've been moving forward. I think most of our residents have been fairly understanding if we say, can we hold off and deal with some of these things a little bit? We do have a couple of yard issues that we're dealing with kind of a combination between the owners, squatters, property managers, to try and get some things cleaned up. So we've got a couple that we're not happy with, so we're working through them and we're gonna get to the point here. Now we've got a little bit of rain, we're getting some heat. By the time she comes back, anybody who has not been maintaining their yard in terms of cutting grass, it will be very noticeable, so. So, yeah, no, we're moving forward, but like, as the mayor said, I think they've been long days, full days, hard days, so.
anything of interest in correspondence?
Oh,
I
yeah.
think there's
much for itself.
May I ask,
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, how is your hair fund coming?
Not very well, thank you. They're about $850. I'm going to tap out at 1,000. I can't take it.
Your granddaughter isn't gonna braid it for you, or?
I've had numerous requests. I've got, my first cousin actually has a man bun. And we were at a family function here about a month ago now, and he said it's just about long enough we could do a man bun, and I gently
I'd
declined.
like to see that, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
See one on both sides.
Yeah.
Oh, and can I just add one, like, general comment, like a community interest? And I'm not sure if Councilor Warwick would like to add to it. We have an up and coming musician that is doing an album release. And it will be on the 27th of May at the Hanna Roundhouse. So if anybody is interested in coming to see Garrett Gregory, they'll be performing, and their tickets, you'll have to get in touch with him about it. So we're just
They're
finally,
available at the door that night.
Are
The
they?
doors open at 7 o'clock. Yes.
okay. We're just finalizing some of the details, and I meet with him on Thursdays.
Okay, any
Perfect.
correspondence, Kim, we need to look at it any?
I don't think there was anything, we need a motion to accept the council report.
Oh,
I'll do that.
Council Bowden, all in favor?
No, I don't think,
Council Crawl? Carried.
I don't think there's anything there outstanding, Mr. Mayor, lots of stuff from Mayor Gold that came in late. last
You know,
week, So,
At the end of the day, when you read the miracle document, it clearly shows that we really are lucky to be part of that organization. Because if we weren't, we just wouldn't have the buying power and access to what we have. They really are an outstanding organization, and they're the master class of meetings. They're just incredible to deal with. And really, they just know how to do it right. So I was just so impressed with them on how they do, but fancy schmancy, yes. What a waste of paper.
Gotta use
No.
more pictures, cut the words out.
I know.
Okay, so can we get a motion for council to accept correspondence items 12.01 to 12.12 for the meeting? Council Darrow, all in favor?
They're putting their fleet.
Adjourned.
Lucky it was the last stuff.
Yeah, that's the last stuff.